Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that literally affects absolutely every single one of us every single night, and that's the heart-sleep connection. Now, we all know that waking up after tossing and turning all night feels just terrible, right? You're groggy, you're irritable, your focus is completely shot. But what's actually happening under the hood to your vital organs while you're just laying there staring at the ceiling? Well, today we are breaking down some incredibly eye-opening insights from heart surgeon Dr. Jeremy London. He lays out step by step how a poor sleep routine doesn't just make you feel tired, it directly, mechanically impacts your heart health. We're going to walk through the exact biology of this, so if you're someone who's at all worried about your cardiovascular future, you'll understand exactly why your sleep schedule is honestly one of your most critical medical decisions. So we can organize Dr. London's insights into three specific areas today. First, cortisol and stress hormones. Second, blood glucose and insulin. And third, appetite and weight gain. Let's just jump right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this with our first mechanism, Section 1, cortisol and stress hormones.
It really helps to look at this as a step-by-step biological chain reaction. Step 1, you have a poor sleep routine. Now, when you don't get adequate rest, your body actually interprets that as a literal state of emergency. So step 2, because it thinks something is terribly wrong, it triggers this massive increase in cortisol and other stress hormones, completely flooding your system. And that forces a mechanical reaction for step 3. Your heart rate and your blood pressure rapidly increase. You are physically stressed out purely from a lack of sleep. And you know those elevated vital signs? They are incredibly dangerous. An increased heart rate and higher blood pressure aren't just, temporary inconveniences that make you feel a little jittery after a bad night's sleep. As Dr. London points out, these are severe, direct risk factors for major cardiovascular events. We're talking about heart attacks, we're talking about heart failure, stroke. The stress hormones that get unleashed by poor sleep are actively straining your heart muscle and your blood vessels, putting you right in the crosshairs of some of the most serious medical emergencies a person can face. Let's move on and see how this builds with our second pillar. Section 2, blood glucose and insulin.
So at the exact same time that whole stress hormone pathway is firing off, another step-by-step chain reaction is kicking into gear. Step 1. Your lack of sleep fundamentally compromises your body's ability to process energy. And this leads straight to step 2, insulin resistance. Basically, your cells stop responding properly to the hormone that's meant to let sugar out of your blood. And because of that resistance, we hit step 3, a sudden sharp jump in your blood glucose. The sugar is literally trapped in there, creating a direct mechanical failure in how your body regulates energy.
Now, you might be wondering, why does trapped blood glucose matter so much? Well, because it significantly increases your risk of developing diabetes. And here's where we see a truly frightening biological loop. Diabetes isn't just an isolated issue. It is a known major risk factor for heart attacks and strokes. So, the very things threatening your heart in our first pillar, they're being aggressively reinforced by this second pillar. Your poor sleep is literally attacking your cardiovascular system from multiple angles all at once. Now, what's really interesting about this next slide is how it ties into a consequence we've all consciously felt. Section 3, appetite and weight gain. Okay, I want you to actively think about this for a second. Remember the last time you pulled an all-nighter? Or, maybe you just stayed up way too late working or traveling across time zones. Really put yourself back in that exact moment. How'd you feel the next day? More importantly, and Dr. London asks us to focus on this, remember how incredibly hungry you were? Think about the specific things you were craving. You probably weren't craving a fresh garden salad, right? No way. You were likely craving heavy, high-calorie, sugary, or super salty foods. Well, it turns out that intense hunger wasn't just a lack of willpower. It wasn't all in your head. The medical reality is that poor sleep actively increases the specific hormones in your body that drive up your appetite. Your own biology is literally working against you when you're sleep deprived. Your body is releasing chemicals telling your brain, eat more. And this hormonal imbalance leads directly to weight gain. Carrying that excess weight? Yep, that is yet another massive strain on your heart. It's a vicious cycle, and it's driven entirely by the hormones altered by your lack of sleep. Let's pull back for a second and look at the whole picture we've built across these steps. When you aggregate the risks derived from all three of these pillars, the stress hormones, the insulin resistance, and those appetite hormones, you're left with a terrifying combination of medical outcomes: heart attack, heart failure, stroke, diabetes. The sheer stakes of sleep deprivation are brought into incredibly sharp focus here. We aren't just talking about minor everyday ailments. We are talking about life-altering, potentially fatal conditions, and they all trace their roots directly back to the quality of your sleep routine.
So the absolutely crucial point here is summarized perfectly by Dr. London in this single, undeniable equation. Poor sleep equals poor health. You simply cannot separate the two. It's the foundation that absolutely everything else rests upon. But hey, the good news? By simply prioritizing your rest, you are taking a massive active step toward a healthier heart, balanced blood sugar, and a regulated weight.
So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. If poor sleep definitively equals poor health, and if a lack of sleep triggers this massive cascade of stress hormones, insulin resistance, and weight gain, how will your routine tonight impact your heart tomorrow? Your cardiovascular future is literally being built tonight, the moment your head hits the pillow. I really hope this explainer has given you a powerful new perspective on why getting a good night's rest is hands down one of the most important things you can do for your body. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this vital topic, and I'll see you next time.